During a power outage, my mother-in-law took my baby's bottled milk and poured it down the drain by accident. My child cried all night while they laughed over board games. The next morning, I left a note on the fridge that started a storm because I've stayed quiet for a long time about the way my mother-in-law treats me. I've bitten my tongue at holidays, ignored her passive-aggressive comments, and smiled through things that should have made me walk out the door. But what she did during that power outage broke something in me. We live in Asheville. It's not a big city, but it's not small either. I moved here after marrying Rob. He was born and raised here, and his family treats this place like their kingdom. They've always acted like I was the outsider who should be grateful they accepted me into the clan. When the power went out that night, I was ready to just ride it out at home. I had candles, flashlights, everything charged. Most importantly, I had Ellie's formula prepped and stored in a cooler with ice packs. She's 7 months old and has reflux, which means feeding her is already a tightrope walk. She needs her formula warm, not hot, not cold, or she'll scream for hours. It's not just fussy baby crying either. It's the kind of screaming that cracks your nerves and leaves you shaking. Rob said we should go to his mom's because she had a generator. I hesitated. I didn't want to go. I didn't like the way she always made me feel like a guest in my own family. But I was tired, and he made it sound like it was the smart move. The second we got there, I knew it was a mistake. She smiled that tight, fake smile she always uses and said, "Oh, the baby's here. Well, isn't that just precious?" She gave Ellie a little pat on the head, then turned straight back to her wine glass. I asked politely if I could store the baby's bottles in the fridge. She nodded, waved me off, said, "Sure, whatever you need." I placed them carefully inside. I checked the temp. I made sure they were lined up and safe. An hour later, she and Rob's sisters were already into their second bottle of wine. They dragged out old board games, cracked jokes about the good old days before helicopter parenting. At one point, I heard her say under her breath, "Back when babies didn't run the whole damn house." I bit my tongue. I just focused on Ellie, who was dozing in her travel crib. I didn't want to fight. I just wanted to get through the night. Around 9:30 p.m., Ellie woke up hungry. I went to grab a bottle and found the fridge empty. Every single bottle was gone. I panicked. I checked the shelves, the counter. I thought maybe someone moved them. Then I asked, trying to stay calm, "Hey, has anyone seen the baby's bottles?" My mother-in-law looked at me like I was stupid. "Oh, I poured those out earlier." I thought they went bad. I just stared at her. "The fridge is on. It's running off the generator." She shrugged. "Well, I didn't think it was safe. You said she needs warm milk anyway." That's when it hit me. She didn't forget. She didn't make a mistake. She did it on purpose. She didn't like me taking up space in her kitchen, didn't like me acting like I knew better than her about how to care for my own baby. I told Rob we needed to leave. He rolled his eyes. "You're blowing this way out of proportion," he said. She thought she was helping. Helping? My daughter screamed the entire way home. My hands shook as I tried to boil water in the dark, pour it over a new bottle, test the temperature, cool it down just right. It was almost 1 a.m. before Ellie finally took the bottle and passed out from exhaustion. And the next morning I snapped. I grabbed a Sharpie, drove back to their house while Rob was still asleep, and wrote in huge letters on her stainless steel fridge, "This is not your house. This is not your child. Don't touch my baby's food. Ever." I signed it. I didn't care. An hour later, my phone blew up. His mom was crying. His sisters were furious. Rob came home from work and started yelling at me, said I embarrassed his mother, and acted like a child. But what about my child? What about the fact that his mother deliberately threw out her food just to prove a point? What about the fact that none of them cared Ellie cried all night while they played their damn games? I didn't apologize. I won't. But that was just the beginning. Because after that note, the real war started. After the fridge note incident, everything changed. Rob started pulling away. Not in big, obvious ways. He still helped with Ellie, still came to bed most nights. But I could feel the resentment building. He stopped touching me. He avoided eye contact. And when I brought up what his mother did, he'd cut me off with, "Can we not do this again?" He wanted me to let it go. But I couldn't. Not when the woman who made my baby go hungry was still pretending she was the victim. It got worse fast. 2 days later, Rob's sister Amy showed up unannounced while I was breastfeeding. Nonak. Just walked right in like it was her place. She said she came to check on the baby, but I knew what she really came for, to spy, to report back. She didn't even try to hide it. She looked around the kitchen, glanced at the fridge, then smirked. "I heard you're putting up signs now," she said. I told her to leave. She didn't. Not until I physically walked her to the door and shut it in her face. 10 minutes later, Rob called and accused me of overreacting again. Said his family just wanted to help and I was pushing everyone away. I asked him straight out, "Whose side are you on?" He didn't answer. The silence between us got thicker. At night, we barely spoke. During the day, he left earlier for work and came home later. He started saying he was too tired to talk, too tired to argue, too tired for anything. Then came the family meeting. That's what Rob called it. He told me his mother wanted to host a dinner to smooth things over. Said it'd be good for Ellie to see her family, and maybe I could try to be more open. I laughed in his face. "You mean crawl back and beg for forgiveness because your mom can't stand that I set boundaries?" He didn't answer. Just said he was going with or without me. That night, I stayed home with Ellie. Rob came back around midnight, reeking of alcohol. I asked how it went. "They think you need therapy," he said. "You're obsessed with control. It's not healthy." That was the night I stopped crying. I started planning. I went through his phone when he fell asleep. I didn't want to, but something in my gut told me I had to. And I was right. He had a text thread with his mom and both sisters titled "Family First." They'd been talking about me for weeks, calling me dramatic, unstable, paranoid. At one point, his mother even said, "She needs to be put in her place before she ruins this family." And Rob never defended me. Not once. In fact, he encouraged them. "Just let her spin out," he wrote in one message. "Eventually she'll realize she's the problem." They were painting me like some kind of unstable, unfit mother. Gaslighting me. Plotting around me. It made my blood run cold. But I didn't confront him. Not yet. Because now I had something better. Evidence. And I knew exactly how to use it. After reading through that text thread, I didn't sleep for 2 nights. They weren't just gossiping. They were scheming. I saw a message from Amy that said, "If she flips out again, we'll talk to Rob about going for full custody. If he documents enough, she won't stand a chance." His mom replied, "Start recording things. Every time she yells, save it." I sat there in my living room, holding my baby in the dark, reading the family I married into plotting to rip her away from me. And Rob, the man I built a home with, he was in the chat too, replying with thumbs-up emojis and phrases like, "Let's see how this plays out." That was the moment I stopped seeing him as my husband. He was something else now. A threat. A man who smiled to my face while texting about how to take my daughter away behind my back. But I didn't confront him, not yet. Because I knew if I made a move too early, he'd twist it. He'd call me paranoid. Unstable. Just like they said. So I played the long game. I bought a cheap burner phone and started documenting everything. I recorded every conversation. Every time he snapped at me for overreacting. Every time he came home drunk. Every time he mentioned his mother, like she was the queen of common sense. I saved voice memos, text screenshots, even a video of Ellie crying while he said, "Can't you just shut her up for once?" I also found something else. Rob had a shared Google Drive with his mom. It was mostly boring stuff, old family photos, scanned bills. But one folder was called Custody Ideas. Inside, notes from some lawyer his mom had talked to. They'd been planning to collect evidence against me, claiming I had postpartum rage and wasn't mentally fit. I printed everything. I saved everything. And then I went quiet. Let them think I was folding. But behind the scenes, I was meeting with a lawyer of my own. A good one. Female. Local. The kind who knew exactly how cases like this played out. I showed her the texts, the recordings, the drive folder. Her face went cold. She said, "You're not crazy. You're being set up." We started building my case. While Rob and his family thought I was breaking, I was documenting. I started sending polite emails instead of texting. I asked Rob to confirm in writing when he'd be gone. I wrote down every time he missed bedtime, every time he came home drunk. All of it went into a timeline. And still, I didn't say a word. Until one night, Rob came home smelling like his sister's perfume. That's when everything changed again. Because I realized he wasn't just betraying me with his mother. He might have been sleeping with his sister's best friend. The one who used to hang out at every family cookout. The one who sat too close, laughed too hard at his jokes, and once said in front of me, "If you ever divorce him, I'll take your place." Suddenly, everything made more sense. The secret chats. The coordinated takedown. They weren't just trying to destroy me for the baby, they wanted me gone. For good. After that night, I knew I was surrounded. They didn't just want to take my child. They wanted to erase me completely from Rob's life, from Ellie's life, from the entire picture. The texts, the custody planning, the whispers behind my back. It wasn't just betrayal. It was war. But I kept playing dumb. I smiled more. I stopped arguing. I let Rob think he'd won. I let him think I was weak. And while he grew bolder, staying out later, getting sloppy with his lies, I was lining everything up. First, I switched pediatricians. Quietly. The new one documented everything. Ellie's crying episodes, Rob's failure to attend checkups, the times I mentioned lack of support. They flagged my concern that Ellie's needs weren't being met when left with him. That's all on file now. Then I visited a therapist twice a week. Not because I needed fixing, but because I needed records. Documentation that I was taking care of myself. No signs of rage.
No postpartum depression.
Just a mother surviving a storm of gaslighting and manipulation. Every week, I uploaded more files to my own private folder. Dates, times, copies of Rob's drinking receipts. Even got a statement from the daycare director who'd noticed Ellie getting dropped off late and picked up early when Rob was on duty. All logged. But the final blow came when I pretended to be asleep. One night around 1 a.m., I heard Rob talking on the phone downstairs. Whispering. Laughing. I crept to the hallway and turned on the baby monitor. I'd placed one of the cameras in the living room weeks ago. Now, I watched through the screen as he leaned back on the couch, phone pressed to his ear, smirking.
"She's cracking," he said.
"Soon she'll do something we can use. We just need one bad night. Amy's ready to file the affidavit. We'll say she's unfit. If I have full custody, Mom says we can finally move forward." Then he paused, smiled wider, and said, "Yeah, I talked to Lauren. She's in. Once this is over, I'm done pretending."
Lauren.
The sister's best friend. The one he swore was just family. I recorded it all. And that was the night I stopped planning and started acting. The night I recorded that call, I knew it was time. Time to end the performance. Time to stop surviving and start striking back. The next morning, while Rob was still asleep, I packed Ellie's bag. Diapers, bottles, her softest blanket. I kissed her forehead and said quietly, "We're going to be okay." I didn't go far. Just to my sister's place across town. She'd been quietly helping me for weeks, waiting for this moment. Her guest room was already made up. She even had a crib waiting. Once Ellie was safe, I made the call to my lawyer. We filed for a temporary custody order that same day, citing emotional manipulation, endangerment, and proof of a coordinated attempt to falsely portray me as unfit. Everything was documented. Everything backed by hard evidence. And then I pressed send. The video of Rob confessing to the custody setup, the affair, the plan to remove me, sent to his boss, who happens to be a family man, the HR department, and their church pastor, who used to praise Rob as a pillar of family values. Within 24 hours, Rob was suspended from work pending investigation. He came home to an empty house. I didn't answer his calls. I didn't respond to the barrage of texts from his mother, his sisters, or Lauren. Instead, I let the sheriff's deputy serve him the emergency order at his door. The first time he saw Ellie again was on a Zoom screen, monitored visitation only. And even that was temporary. Because, as my lawyer told the judge, this is a man who plotted to remove a loving mother from her child's life with the help of family and an extramarital partner. We are not talking about a misunderstanding. We are talking about a calculated emotional ambush. And the court listened. It didn't take long. Within 2 months, I had primary custody. Rob was ordered to attend parenting classes and submit to an alcohol assessment. His visits remained supervised. His family was barred from contact without written consent from me. Lauren dumped him the second his reputation tanked. Rob lost his job after they reviewed the audio and saw his texts on a company-issued phone. His mother tried to claim she was just concerned about Ellie. But the judge wasn't impressed by her custody ideas folder. She hasn't seen Ellie since. And I changed the locks, sold the house, and moved to Raleigh for a fresh start. New daycare. New support network. No shadows following me. Sometimes I get texts from unknown numbers. You tore this family apart. You didn't have to go nuclear. But they don't get to rewrite the story. I didn't destroy a family. I survived one. And in the end, I made sure my daughter would grow up in a home where no one laughs while she cries. A home where her mother is seen, heard, and never silenced again.